Please remember, while Fuller House is a family show, the Fullest House Podcast is not. Therefore, listener discretion is advised. Bonjour et bienvenue sur le podcast Fullest House. Je suis Harrison Bloom.
Je suis Zach Horowitz.
Et je suis Mark Greene.
Welcome. We just tried doing the intro in another language.
We learned
for the
French.
First time. That was
Harrison, you are not committing
so
to the
painful.
accents the entire episode?
I don't know what
It is difficult for me.
Of course I am committing to the bit. I do not know who that last person was. He must have been an
I'm going to be
impostor.
very mean to the French
Impressions.
today.
He must
I hope no one French is listening.
For the people of France, I apologize for that intro.
My
don't
biggest
speak French.
touchdown is Lumiere from Beauty and the Beast.
Oh my god. We'd like to start off this episode of the Fullest House Podcast by apologizing to the entire country of France.
Leave your Yelp reviews of my French intro in the comments.
That's where they do that on Yelp.
On Yelp.
on Yelp, yes. Create a Yelp page for the Fullest House Podcast.
Yeah, I'm just.
And then leave
Oh
your
my
review.
God.
I just didn't know, guys.
Yeah.
This episode is off to a great start.
Yes.
The reason we are speaking in French is because this episode is about French cooking.
Yay. French
also-
cooking.
About so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, guys, DJ and Steve, they've got a date planned, and DJ doesn't know what it is because Steve planned it this time.
Ooh. Things are getting serious.
And
Yep.
his way of communicating that they are going to a cooking class is to hold up a pair of Crocs.
Yeah,
They establish Kimmy and Steph are like, oh, that's big because DJ, you don't like surprises. And DJ's like, what are you talking about? That's not true. And they're like, yes, it is, Deej. It's sparkling dialogue.
Yeah.
Indeed.
But Steve walks in with a bag. He says, guess where we're going? And he pulls out a pair of Crocs. Now, I just want to ask you guys,
Yes.
if Steve did that in front of you, if he said, guess where we're going? Here's a pair of Crocs. What do you think he was trying to say?
A Croc factory.
Croc
A shoe
slumber
factory.
party.
I literally thought he was going to say, like, we're going to the factory where Crocs are made in San Francisco.
Oh boy, the Croc factory.
Maybe
Yeah.
they were going to hunt crocodiles,
Ooh.
which of course is how they make Crocs.
Yes, of course. They're made
course.
from crocodile skin. Everyone knows that.
And DJ, of course, guesses.
Why
all of
else would
these
they be
things.
called Crocs, Harrison?
And Steve says to DJ, "We're doing a cooking class. Didn't you get it from the Crocs?"
Yeah. Guys at home, do you wear Crocs while cooking? Because I have never worn Crocs while cooking.
Well, you're the weird one here, Harrison.
Yeah. I wear Crocs. I only wear Crocs while cooking.
Yeah, like I wear Crocs on every occasion. Steve brought out some like lime green Crocs. Those are the cooking Crocs, as we all know in the Croc community. Green
Of course.
is for cooking, yellow is for hiking, red is for sexy times, and blue is for miscellaneous.
See, you know
Wait,
more
red
than
is for
me.
sexy
Like,
Yeah,
like I don't wear Crocs. I only wear Crocs while cooking. But I do have a lot of specialized Crocs. Like you have to have your souffle Crocs.
yeah.
Well, of
You
course.
have to have your grilling Crocs.
Yes.
You have to have baking Crocs. Different than souffle Crocs.
I know I made a joke about not having the cooking Crocs, but I always make sure to wear my baking Crocs.
Well, the way you distinguish, because those all fall
I
under
remember.
Because
green,
you're
but
a
the way
baker
you
and not a cook.
distinguish is you put in those little those little sticker things that you put in the holes. Remember those things?
Yeah, remember Crocs?
Remember the things you'd put in the holes
Oh,
with
yeah,
like
I
all the
remember
different
those.
characters?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
when I'm baking, I always put in my cooking Crocs and I put in a Lightning McQueen to signify that I'm baking. Cuz, nothing
Why
says baking a nice little souffle than Lightning McQueen.
I'm kind of curious how long we can go before Tyler texts, you have to move on.
Let's not tempt him. Lest he put us over a spit like in Steve's cooking class.
I'm just gonna say it again, guys. This is a good episode. That being said, maybe we should take a deep breath.
Yeah. All right.
And just sort of
we're all gonna be doing some guided meditation. All right, breathe in. Hold for a couple seconds. And exhale.
Fuller
House is fucking crazy.
It's a crazy show. I kind of liked this episode.
This was a fun episode, honestly. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And we begin getting to the fun stuff because next scene, we get all of our favorite characters.
Yes.
J Money is on the couch playing video games. He's playing a racing game. Fernando walks up saying, "You're playing a racing game. I'm a race car driver, recently retired."
No. Yeah, this is unfortunately where we find out Fernando Fernandez Guerrero is officially retired from Formula One. It's a sad day for the sport.
He's no longer a very famous race car driver. He's now a very famous retired race car driver.
No.
It's heartbreaking.
Indeed.
It is. And J Money expresses in this instant that he doesn't actually believe Fernando is a race car driver. Well, he doesn't immediately express it, but it's in this scene.
Well, first, J Money is like, no thanks. I'm playing a racing game, but I don't need a real race car driver to play with me.
Yeah.
J Money's Postmates delivery arrives.
Yeah.
And we're introduced to a new character who I very much enjoyed. Ethan, the Postmates guy.
Ethan, the Postmates guy is great.
And Ethan has a very special distinction because in 5 seasons of Fuller House, Ethan is the only character to recognize famous race car driver Fernando Hernandez Guerrero.
It's true.
The only one. He is a fan of this living legend of the sport who has caused more spectator injuries than anyone in the history of Formula One.
Ethan shares this fact with us.
That is fantastic. I love
your
that
heart out, Michael Schumacher.
We finally answer the question, has Fernando caused harm not only to himself and fellow racers, but to the people in the crowd as well?
Yep.
Yes.
Do you think he really retired, or was he removed for being too much of a liability?
Probably the latter. That did occur to me. He says he retired, and he has fans, so I guess those waivers are ironclad.
Look, Mr. Fernandez Guerrero. It would be one thing if you were causing all these fiery crashes and injury upon injury to the other racers. But you also do it to the spectators. There is not one participant in this sport who you have not injured in some way.
How many people do you think Fernando has killed? Because in Formula One, you are going down the track at like over 100 miles an hour.
Maybe that's why he hasn't been arrested for manslaughter at this point. He injures everyone, but he murders nobody.
Fernando has probably killed a man. I'm just gonna put it out there.
I agree. I don't think he killed them through racing. I think that's a whole other story.
Oh yeah, it's like after the race, someone was like, "Hey, Fernando, you suck," and Fernando just stabbed them.
It kind of is a wonder Fernando has made it this long in racing.
Yeah.
But yes, Ethan, the Postmates guy, is arguably as excited to meet Fernando as we would be to meet Juan Pablo Di Pace.
Oh yeah.
Juan Pablo Di Pace, please come on our podcast.
Please come on the podcast.
And as he goes for a selfie,
well, first, as Harrison, as you said, J Money sees this reaction and says, "Wait, you're really a race car driver? I thought you just carried a helmet around."
Like he's been delusional this whole time.
He made a reference to something as well, like
I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah, a reference to I Dream of Jeannie, which like no 16-year-old would know what I Dream of Jeannie is.
Hey, if any 16-year-old is gonna know I Dream of Jeannie, if any 16-year-old stays home on the weekends watching TV Land,
that's fair.
It's J Money.
That is fair.
TV.
But
oh my god.
Yes, I'm sorry I interrupted you, Harrison. You were describing the next development with Ethan, the Postmates guy.
which is when he goes for a selfie, but he looks up at the top of the staircase to do it, and which is when his heart melts at the sight of Ramona. Well, her name is actually Ramona Gibbler, but he says Ramona Guerrero for her. Ramona, God damn it.
Hernandez Guerrero, Fernandez Guerrero.
Fernandez Guerrero.
It's so good.
Fuck that up.
They shoot Ramona. She's in slow motion. A fan is blowing her hair all about. It is love at first sight. Chef's kiss. Mwah.
And then she falls down the stairs.
Yep, she falls down the stairs.
There's a lot of like speeding up and slowing down of footage in this episode, I'm just realizing.
There is.
Which I mean, I said this for one of the other instances that we'll get to later, but I would like to institute a headcanon, and you guys can either confirm or deny as much as you want. All the changes in speed in this episode did not happen. They just did that. The characters just did that. Ramona just walked in slow motion.
Well, the other big change in speed, we do know that he just did that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's entirely possible Ramona was walking in slow motion. It threw off her equilibrium, and that's why she fell down the stairs.
I also love that we do find out that Timmy and I guess Fernando's ability to take incredible amounts of concussive force from falling down the stairs has been passed on to
It's
Ramona.
genetic.
So that's a great life skill for her.
Look,
She can fall downstairs without dying.
Fernando has been in countless car crashes throughout his existence in Formula One. Like this is well established.
They must have
And he is
incredible
fine.
bone density.
Like the fact
their
that
calcium levels are through
the fact that
roof.
Fernando, as far as we know, is like the pinnacle of health.
Maybe. Do you think he was in some car accident? He was in a Formula One accident.
Mhm.
And then they like Bionic Man
Ooh.
replaced all his bones with machinery and
Yes.
made Fernando a cyborg man.
Well, they had the the fucking
$6 million.
$6 million man in a previous episode.
Yeah, and Fernando is the new $6 million man.
Well, you know what they have to do now? They have to fight to the death.
There can only
There can be
one.
only one.
Yes.
Fuller House 2, The Quickening. Anyway, Ethan goes to help Ramona up, and I forget, he says something like, "Are you okay?" And she responds, "No, I'm Ramona." And then he says, "Oh, my name's Ethan." And she goes, "No, I'm Ramona."
For a second, I thought she had her concussion, but no, I think she just was in love.
just
so it's
in-
very
She was
funny.
in love and like maybe had a concussion. The jury's still out on that one.
Guys,
True.
what is love if not
Baby,
a
don't hurt
concussion
me.
of the heart?
Don't hurt me.
On the heart.
No more.
Yes.
Yes, musical bits.
You said what is love? I had to.
I said, what is love if not?
Well, you paused. There was a pause.
That's true. That is true.
Zach, I'm not about to argue with you about this and ruin everybody's day.
You gotta respect the pause.
Yeah. So. they
So
keep
Ramona gets a
talking.
concussion of the heart.
Total concussion of the
But
heart.
Fernando, seeing these sparks a-flying,
Gets very angry.
and he kicks Ethan out.
Yep.
Yeah. And then they dramatically argue and then storm out of the room, which makes Timmy upset because she didn't understand what was so dramatic. And then she dramatically storms out of the room.
Because she just wants to be included.
Yeah.
And then this scene has maybe my favorite button that any scene in Fuller House has
yes.
had,
So
where J
good.
Money opens up his
Oh,
Postmates
yes.
delivery and says,
I-
"Whoa,
oh.
this burrito comes with chips."
First of all, J Money, who has been sitting there the entire time this has been happening. I feel like that's an important
Correct.
detail. He has been sitting there the entire time because he's too lazy to get up.
Ah!
Correct.
Oh god, you're right.
Opens his bag. This burrito comes with chips. Then we go into slow-mo. A fan starts blowing his hair back. The exact
good.
same visual
So
language.
good.
J Money is fully in love with this burrito and his chips.
Yep.
Just perfect.
Ah, it's so beautiful.
Oh, it's wonderful.
So good.
It's very, very good.
And then
And then Max is going to the Ren Fair.
Oh boy.
yeah.
Max just like shows
Renaissance
up in
fair.
full Ren Fair gear.
Yes.
And Steph's like, you gotta what you doing there, Max? He's like, who is Max? I am Lord Maximilian of the Fuller House of House Fuller.
God.
I am the one who must pull the sword from the sword from the stone and become the true hero of the story.
Very much like Game of Thrones, what are the words of the Fuller house? Of House Fuller?
It's always open.
It's always open,
Yes.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it has to be.
Our doors are always open.
There's also a very good line that we just skipped over in the last scene where the delivery guy comes in and Fernando walks in and is like, "Oh no, there's a stranger in our house. I knew this open door policy was bound to fail."
Of course.
Yes.
Like, I'm glad that like somebody realizes just how fucking insane not locking your door is.
Yeah, but at least it was a hunky stranger who was a fan of race cars.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, if someone's gonna break into my house, I'd appreciate it if they were at least hot before they killed me.
Right? Right?
Yes.
If I want to die, I
Like-
want a hunk to do it.
You could have at least
Yeah.
had the common decency to be hot.
Look, guys, getting murdered by an Uggo, that's trash.
Oh my
Getting murdered
God.
by a hot person, that's a cool way to go.
Yeah. I'd much rather get murdered by Ted Bundy than Charles Manson, because I mean Charles Manson's so much uglier than Ted Bundy.
Damn, get fucked, Charles Manson.
Get fucked, Charles Manson. Harrison, why you gotta be so mean to Charles Manson? What did
Fish
he
had it
ever do?
Being such an uggo.
What did Charles Manson ever do except murder many people?
What did he ever do except give Quentin Tarantino fodder for making a movie?
Oh.
We have to move on.
Yeah.
Just general disclaimer, anytime we praise serial killers on this show, it's a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want it to be made clear
In case it wasn't obvious.
Yes. The official stance of this podcast is that murder is bad.
Yes. Murder
Yes.
is very bad.
I feel like, I understand this is kind of a hot take, but murder is bad. Don't
Hot
don't
take,
do it.
murder, don't do it.
Yeah,
The only thing
don't do
worse
it.
than murder is murderers. Am I right?
Yeah, I hate those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Murderers be shopping.
Oh god. But yes, anyways, Max is going to the Ren Fair, and
Steph was supposed to take
Lady
him.
Stephanie is supposed to take him, but she forgot. 'Cause she, she's kind of got a baby, and she's doing all the baby things.
Because she's a little busy right now.
Yeah. Was there no one in the house to take Max to
I
the
know.
Renaissance Fair?
There are 50 people who live in this house. And even if they're not full adults, like, G-Money can take him to a Ren Fair.
Yeah. Fernando is retired now. What is he doing?
Fernando and Max
Fernando's
do
too busy
not
hunting
mix.
down the Postmates
Right,
guy.
they are grudgingly respectful rivals.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, he does send him on an emergency delivery to Alcatraz prison. That's another detail in the last scene that we missed.
I think
Because he has to
that's-
leave because he had
I think that's
an
the next
emergency.
scene.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
I'm just keeping us honest.
Yeah.
And yeah, but no, I don't think Fernando should take Max to the Ren Fair because they are, of course, rivals.
Yeah.
But there are so many people who live in this house, and only one of them just had a baby. Technically, two of them just had a. Technically, does Jimmy live in the house yet? Technically, three of them just had a baby.
Yeah.
Steph just had a baby. Kimmy just had a baby, and Jimmy just had a baby.
Right. Yeah, so maybe some of them are occupied.
Yeah,
You know.
Kimmy seems
Kimmy
pretty
can still
free.
do it.
Yeah.
Kimmy can still
Kimmy
do
seems
it.
pretty free.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also think it's interesting that Steph's first reaction is, "Oh no, I forgot. Let me go right away," instead of, "Oh, sorry, Max, I can't go. I have a newborn baby."
I get it. She planned on going.
That's true.
But like, still, there's a lot going on. The baby's not even like a month old yet.
Yeah. But Steph says just because she's a mom now, that doesn't mean she can't still be fun aunt. They'll go right away, but baby poopy.
So the baby poops and she goes to change the diaper.
And next scene, we're at cooking school,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which coincidentally takes place at the cooking school.
Yeah, it's just called cooking
It's just
school.
a building that says cooking school, and there's just like a little design of like a guy with a mustache in between the words cooking and school.
Gotta appreciate that very on the nose marketing. Much like how
Very
if you
on the
take a
nose.
pebble and throw it in any cardinal direction, you will hit a building that just says Taekwondo School. That just happens in any shopping center.
This seems like an experience that is unique only to Harrison.
I thought that was a very funny joke. I do feel like there are Taekwondo schools in every
Literally
single strip
everywhere.
mall or shopping complex.
Maybe I
So
haven't
many.
been paying enough attention.
Also, I 100% thought that Harrison was going to make a Starbucks joke, and I really appreciated that he went with Taekwondo schools.
The Starbucks thing is also true.
It's also true, but that was a very incisive, good observation, and I liked that, Harrison.
Thank you. Well, anyway, they are at the cooking school.
Yes.
They're taking an advanced cooking, French
A
cooking.
French cooking class.
Advanced French cooking.
With a French instructor who has an accent and everything. A totally real French accent. Just as real as the accents that we are doing right now.
Oh, oui, oui.
Oui, oui.
Oh,
I am
Very
French.
real French accent.
a very real French accent.
The Fullest House Podcast would once again like to apologize to the entire country of France. We are sorry.
Are we now the subject of is that racist? God.
Maybe.
There are surprisingly few French jokes in this episode. Except for that one cook guy.
Yep.
But yeah.
There's another couple there, the Feinsteins,
Yeah.
who immediately start up a rivalry with DJ and Steve.
Yeah.
They just hate it when other people are in their cooking class, even though they've presumably been going to this cooking class for quite a long time with Steve.
Mrs. Feinstein is played by the wonderful character actress Mindy Sterling,
Yep.
who you might know from the Austin Powers movies or iCarly if you're our age.
Yep.
Yes. You also recognized the chef, and we couldn't remember his name, right? We
Yeah,
were
I don't
having
know.
trouble.
Well, no, it's not that. I mean, I recognized the chef. I've seen him in various things. I know he's in an episode of Friends. He's also in an episode of iCarly.
Oh,
He
wow,
plays.
okay.
Do you remember the episode where Spencer meets his hero, this famous artist who doesn't like his art?
Oh,
And
that's the
that's
that's the
that's
guy.
that actor.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the
Okay,
same
yeah.
actor. I
Okay,
made a
yeah,
joke that I wanted it to be the other character actor, Rene Auberjonois, who's in everything, and did an over-the-top French accent as Chef Louis in The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
That
I
would've been
don't
good.
know
That
why
would've
I know so many character actors.
And then there's Mr. Feinstein, who is just the best.
He's the best because he's just sort of like an innocent lump of a man,
Yeah.
and his wife is this very mean competitive lady.
Yeah.
But guys, turns out Steve is like a master chef.
Which does not surprise me at all. It definitely surprises DJ, though I'm
Yes.
not sure why, considering he talks about food all the time.
Correct. Well, he explains that he learned how to cook after he got divorced because he likes
Yeah.
to eat
hmm
Yeah.
and he needed to eat. But as we were talking about earlier with the speeding up and slowing down of things, we see Steve chop up and remove all of the meat off of a chicken in like 20 seconds.
Yes.
His hands are going super fast. The footage is sped up. But then when he's talking about it with the instructor, he says that he deboned the chicken in 20 seconds, meaning that it was happening in the reality of the show in real time.
Yeah, the footage wasn't sped up.
Yes.
Steve just did that.
Steve just did that. Maybe Steve is also a $6 million man.
Oh, that's possible.
$6 million man battle royale. That's what the series finale should be. Only one may live.
He actually has just 2 bionic feet. So he never has.
That's why he needs the Crocs to hide the bionics. He has like bionics, but he has like human shaped areas specifically where like the holes in the Crocs are. He's like, oh, perfect.
And Steve speaks French with the instructor, and he is just impressing the pants off of DJ. Almost literally, they start making out because she's so impressed with
Oh god.
his skills.
The PDA in this episode is off the charts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, guys, tone it down a little. I guess I get that you're in love and you've found someone to spend your life with, but like, come on.
I want to say that the chef was like in frame every time.
I think so
they got
too.
And
Yeah.
I was just trying to see the scene from his perspective. Like, why? Jesus Christ! Why do they keep making out in front of me?
He was
This crazy couple making out in my cooking class.
he was maybe a little into it.
Maybe.
You know what?
The couple. I like it when they smooch in my class.
Oh god.
Oh boy.
Oh god.
I want the French cooking to be sexy. So they should smooch in my class.
Jesus Christ.
So, yes, this very open-minded
What?
French cook.
You're. Am I making you uncomfortable?
No.
I'm so sorry. Zach, there are other episodes where you've described yourself as the chaotic one, and I'd just like to put a challenge to that.
Oh, is this a challenge? Is this a fucking challenge?
I don't think it should become a literal
gonna
challenge
practice
because
being
I don't think a
chaotic.
I'm gonna be.
is going to be fun.
Give
to
me a
listen to.
week. I will be the most fucking chaotic, wild card looking motherfucker on the face of this planet. You've laid down the challenge.
Okay.
Anyway.
So Ramona is just holding on to the Postmates bag and sniffing it because she misses Ethan, her Postmate.
I should call him.
Her Postmate soulmate.
Her Postmate's
Yeah.
soulmate. Kimmy gives her this pep talk about, you know, if he really loves you, you know, he's like a frisbee. If you throw him away, he'll come back. Ramona points out that's not how frisbees work. Kimmy says, well, if a dog is carrying the frisbee, it'll come back. He's like a dog with a frisbee. If it's meant to be, he'll come back panting. And immediately, Ethan walks into the door panting.
Because somebody ordered emergency
It's so
lasagna,
good.
which is very different from a normal lasagna because this is an emergency.
I want to present my thesis about Ethan.
Mhm.
Is he the new himbo of the show? Like, there are already a few himbos, but like he drinks his respect women juice. He's pure of heart, a little bit dumb of ass. He's pretty hunky.
A little bit dumb of ass.
He's kind of a himbo. I was getting vibes from him.
Yeah,
I was getting
I'm here
himbo
for
vibe.
it.
I mean,
I love the himbo.
we are
archetype,
on
so
record
I'm down.
for loving a dummy. We love a dummy.
We love a dummy.
And Ethan is starting to check off some of these boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a slight Jiminy Gibbler vibe.
I don't think anybody else can top Jimmy Gibbler in terms of himbo status, but
No.
he's getting up there.
Jimmy Gibbler is the ultimate himbo.
Yeah, yeah, he really is as himbo-y as you can get
Yeah.
in this show.
Yeah.
Unless he was like 7 feet tall and absolutely jacked.
But
Yeah.
Ethan is very good. It turns out Kimmy has done some machinations and ordered a lasagna to get him back to the house. She says, Ramona really likes Italian. Are you Italian? And he says, no, I'm not.
He's, no, I'm not, but I often get mistaken for Italian. And then she says, really? And he says, no.
Both Kimmy and I said, really? And he goes, no.
I'd also like to point out that like she ordered this emergency lasagna and somehow by a stroke of luck got the same delivery guy, as if there's only one Postmates delivery guy in all of San Francisco.
Maybe she like put it into the notes, like, hey,
Send
Postmates,
your
I know you're
cutest
just like a
delivery boy.
company and a service. There's a very specific delivery guy I want. He's super cute. I forget his name, but just make sure he's a hunk.
Can you imagine if Kimmy should like send your cutest delivery boy and then somebody else showed up?
And she's like, damn it,
Yeah,
but
that
you
would-
are pretty cute.
That would suck. But again, cute guy in your house.
Yeah,
It's true.
It's not bad for old Ramona.
Yeah.
yeah, true.
She's
True
got
that.
options.
True that.
She's got options. I do also want to say, because I enjoyed it a lot, when Ethan says hi to Ramona again, she says again, no, I'm Ramona.
I love that so much.
Yeah. Ramona's in love. I'm glad
Ramona's
we're
in
finally
love.
getting another like Ramona-centered episode because it's been a
Yes.
while since we've had one.
It has been a while.
It's been a while, and she's always so good.
She is.
Love Ramona. She's doing really well. But guys, Ethan gets another emergency call. He has to go.
And doesn't take her number for some reason.
They
even though
don't
he's very
exchange
clearly into
numbers,
her.
and we all were shouting, "Get each other's number!" And then after he leaves, Ramona says, "He didn't even get my number. I didn't get his number." I liked that they pointed it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And then we find out the ultimate anime betrayal. Fernando was the high priority delivery, sending Ethan on a wild goose chase to Alcatraz.
Yep. Fernando is my favorite anime character.
Do you still have to take a ferry to Alcatraz? Like, is Ethan
I
gonna be
mean-
like have to drive to the ferry, get on the boat?
No,
to go to-
Harrison,
to
don't be
Alcatraz?
no, Harrison, don't be stupid. His car is also a submarine.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
It occurs to me now, much in the same way that Kimmy had no way of knowing that Ethan was going to be her Postmates driver. Fernando also is Ethan the only Postmates driver
I brought
in
this-
San Francisco?
Yeah, I brought this up earlier, but yeah, it seems like Ethan is the only Postmates delivery guy in all of San Francisco, which
Because
is like
I'll be honest. I drove DoorDash. I've never done Postmates, but in my experience, you can't request a specific DoorDash driver.
and
so I don't
I've
think you can
used
do-
DoorDash, and I don't think I've ever had the same driver twice.
Yeah. I have gotten the same Uber driver twice. That was interesting. But
He must be the only one.
yeah.
Or maybe
Got a
it's just that
monopoly.
his car is also a submarine, so he's the best at it.
Yeah, like you have like the option to say I'm on a bike, I'm on a car, I'm just walking. So maybe like he
Yeah.
has a submarine car hybrid.
I'm
and
on
he
a
can take
bike, I'm
that
on a
to
car,
Alcatraz.
I'm in a submarine.
Check all that apply.
Yep.
Yes, Fernando was the one. And Kimmy tells Ramona that as he gets older, or as she gets older, Fernando is just going to become more and more protective.
Mhm.
And she says so as she gets older, Kimmy will just have to scheme harder and harder on Ramona's behalf.
Yes.
Mhm.
Anyway, Steph has changed into Ren Fair garb.
Mhm.
She has Danielle Tanner, Danny Tanny.
Danny
The new
Tanny.
Danny Tanny.
The younger Danny Tanny.
Danny Tanny the second.
Yes.
Danny Tanny, second of her name. Gosh.
Danny
Queen
Tanny
Danny
of the
Tanny.
house full.
I'm just realizing that Danny Tanny could also be could also be used as a shortened form of Daenerys Targaryen, kind of.
Oh my god, you're right.
I don't know
Right.
Game of Thrones, but
Maybe
Oh my
Danielle
God.
Tanner is the chosen one.
Is she gonna burn down San Francisco?
the chosen
She's-
baby.
The chosen baby destined to kill everybody.
So well, this is where it all balances out because, as we all know, Mark is not a fan of Tommy, quite honestly referring to him as a bad baby on many occasions.
Bad
now we
baby.
have a good baby to balance it out.
Good
A hero
We're try-
baby to bring light to this world of darkness that Tommy has created.
When
She
one
will break
rises,
the wheel.
when the dark rises, light shall rise to meet it.
Yes.
They are a dyad in the Force.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Ah. Anyway, yeah, so they're about to leave for the Ren Fair.
They leave to go to the Ren Fair and they immediately come back because Danny Tanny, despite being a good baby, threw up on Stephanie.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say about this subplot is it's not bad, but these early parts are a little bit repetitive. Like, oh, gotta go to the Ren Fair. Oh, nope,
Yep.
can't go to the Ren Fair.
Yeah.
Gotta go to the Ren Fair. Can't go to the Ren Fair.
They're pretty repetitive. It's all the one set. I mean, I guess every plot in this is generally takes place in sort of one set.
I guess so, yeah.
Sometimes this show feels very claustrophobic.
Yeah. Sometimes it feels like they're trying to put in a lot in such a little time frame, and then it feels like nothing is accomplished.
Yeah. Well, I also mean like You know, every
Just the sets.
sitcom, because of the nature of TV and costs and everything, they have, or every TV show really, or most TV shows, have their big sets, their central hubs that you keep going back to. The coffee house in Friends, the apartment in Friends. There's generally a meeting place in an apartment in every show.
The house in Fuller House.
The house in Fuller House. But the thing is, like, we can have episodes of Fuller House that take place solely in, like, 2 rooms.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like it gets a little claustrophobic.
It's part of the experience because it shows how claustrophobic it is living in the house.
The
with
house
so many
is too
people.
full.
It's too...
God damn it.
I was not expecting that at all.
That was good.
Good, Zach.
That was good.
You did it good.
I did it good.
You did good.
Be proud of me.
Anyway, back at cooking class, Steve is killing it.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And they're going to do something a little fun for the last dish of the day. They're going to have a little competition to see who can make the best multi-tiered Napoleon.
Yeah.
And the winner receives a coupon for another free class at cooking school.
Hooray!
Yay!
Hooray! So as we all know, DJ, because she's DJ, gets very into this.
Yep.
Yes.
She gets very competitive with Mrs. Feinstein.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She orders Steve to trash talk the Feinsteins in French. And so in French, he says, like, you seem like a very nice couple, but I want to impress my girlfriend. So I hope I am not hurting your feelings. And he says it all angrily in French.
Yeah. I love that. That was
Very
so
good. Steve's
Yeah.
the best.
Steve is wonderful. We love him.
Mm-hmm. And is it in this scene that we have one of the most awkward jokes in the entire show?
Maybe.
Delivered so awkwardly that the only reaction that they offer DJ, like the characters in the show, is to just stare at her in confusion and mild contempt and quickly shuffle it aside.
Technically, we do cut back to the house, but that's basically a continuation of the same scene.
Yeah.
I just realized I was in a writing class once where my professor said, like, if there's a scene that's sort of like in your outline split in half, that sometimes you do that you have a scene that they're basically two
between,
halves of one scene and you've split them up with something else. They really should just be one scene. Fuller House does that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, the joke that I'm thinking of is when DJ is trash talking and Mrs. Feinstein says something about like, oh, we've logged in 120 hours of cooking class. Well, you were jerking off. I was studying the
you
blade.
were getting divorced. I
Literally,
studied the blade.
she kind of threatens
studied the
DJ
blade.
with a knife.
Yeah.
And she goes like, oh, chop, 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 chop. And DJ's like, well, yeah, my hands are knives. And then she does like a choppy motion with her hands.
No, I don't think you fully encompassed
Yeah,
how
I want
awkward
Harrison.
it is.
Apparently,
because
this
she
line
says-
haunted Harrison for years.
Yeah.
She starts it out by saying, well, I've been to Epcot, which means that I have about the same knowledge of cooking as you. And in Japan, the hands are used as blades, and then proceeds to karate chop the air multiple times in front of this other grown woman. It is so awkward.
And Steve has a line where he's like, oh, I forget how cute you get when you're so competitive. And it's like, that turned you on, Steve? Seeing DJ karate chop the air and go...
Uh-oh. Looks like someone needs to change into their red Crocs.
God.
The seduction Crocs.
You see, that's what we call in the biz a callback to my earlier joke.
Yep.
Red Crocs.
In the Crocs biz.
The only form of birth control with a 100% success rate.
That's why they're used for sexy times. You gotta practice safe sex.
Yep.
Yes.
Exactly. Anyway, after that travesty of an exchange,
Yep.
we go back to the Fuller house where Ramona has gotten dressed up and dolled up and ready for I don't know, maybe a cute Postmates delivery guy is going to come over again and take her on a date. Anyway, Fernando walks in, Ethan arrives. Fernando starts I'm getting to the important part of the scene in case it sounds like I'm brushing over any details. Fernando attempts to keep Ramona and Ethan apart. So Kimmy assaults Fernando with a Swiffer duster.
Yes.
She just trips him. She
just like hammers his legs. Yep, smacks him in the knee.
She sweeps his legs.
Yep. And I don't think Ethan sees any of this. Like, the door is blocking it, and Ramona's just like, "Oh, Ethan, let's go," and they leave. I just want to point something out.
Meanwhile, Kimmy is like holding Fernando back as he tries to desperately crawl to the door.
Yes, I just want to point something out. In an earlier scene, Kimmy said, "Fernando is getting more protective, so I'll just have to scheme harder and harder." Kimmy's schemes, Kimmy's machinations, her brilliant plan
is assault.
It's just to beat Fernando up. To assault Fernando.
That's true. I didn't think of it that way.
You don't know. Fernando might have hurt that knee before. He might have an existing injury history with that knee due to some racing condition.
That's true. He's injured every single person and himself in racing. Yes.
Maybe the only injury that's stuck, his one weakness is his knee.
It's his Achilles heel. It's his Achilles knee.
I just really love, I'll just have to plan even harder. I've come up with a brilliant plan. It's violence.
I'll have to looks like I'll have to plan even harder to keep him away. Pulls out a gun. I have a gun now.
I love that when Ethan opens the door and says, "Hey, Ramona, what's up?" He's not even holding a bag, meaning at this point, they literally are just calling in the hunky delivery boy.
Yeah. Hey, Postmates, we don't want you to deliver anything except that hunky lovin'.
Bring that meat, if you know what I mean. He delivers 6 on the
Arby's.
side. Yeah, Arby's.
They have the meats.
Yeah, exactly.
And J-Money loves Arby's.
What did you think we were talking about, audience, you dirty-minded motherfuckers?
Anyway, after that, we actually is when we cut back to the trash talking. And then later we have Kimmy and Fernando together, and Kimmy apologizes for assaulting Fernando. And says they're just going to have to learn to let go a little and trust Ramona. She's big and she can make her own decisions. There's a very good line where she says, "We just have to trust her." And Fernando says, "Or we can dress up in costumes and follow her everywhere."
Oh, God. Which seems like a very Gibbler Fernandez Guerrero thing to do.
That shit is right up Kimmy's alley.
I would love a scene like that one episode from Drake and Josh where they dress up as Orthodox Jews.
Yes. Well, Kimmy's done that before many times. Put on a costume and inserted herself into Ramona's life.
And Fernando's dressed up like an Orthodox Jew before, so it works.
Yeah. Yes. Their experience. That's what marriage is.
Fernando needs to embrace his Jewish side.
You bring your own experiences together.
Yeah.
Kimmy has a lot of experience dressing up in costumes and inserting herself into Ramona's life. And Fernando is a Jew.
Kind of.
But yes, Kimmy is tempted for a bit, but they both agree that they both agree that they have to let things go, and they both go, "Damn, how good parents we are." Anyway, Max walks into his and J-Money's room, and he's upset because Steph's not taking him to the Ren Fair. Maybe she doesn't care about him anymore.
Yeah, but J-Money reminds him, "Hey, when you were born, Mom did the same thing. It's a temporary thing. She just needs to focus on the baby. Yeah. It's not it's nothing personal against you. She still loves you."
J-Money's like, "Look, I understand you're upset, but she has a baby."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, how old is Max now? The actor has started to go through puberty. I'd think I hope he'd be mature enough to be to not go immediately, "Ugh, Steph doesn't even care about me anymore." And instead go, "Oh, Stephanie has a baby."
Also, he has a younger brother.
Yeah. Yeah, J Money consoles Max. Max apologizes to Stephanie. And everybody, it's all good. Even if Max didn't get to go to the Ren Fair. Anyway, back to cooking class.
Cooking!
They're all finishing up their layered Napoleons.
And DJ and Steve's looks really good. The Feinstein's looks really good. But then DJ looks over and she's like, oh, what the hell? They also went with a layered Napoleon?
Which I thought was the assignment.
Yeah.
He said make a tiered Napoleon. I have it in my notes.
Yeah.
I don't know why I would add that if it wasn't there.
I'd also like to point out the Napoleons look exactly the same.
I think DJ's and Steve's looks a little better. Just the edges are a little better.
Oh, okay.
It's a little more symmetrical in my eyes.
Okay.
But DJ is still
not in
going like,
DJ's
if we
eyes.
don't add extra pizzazz, we're gonna lose. And again, I'm shouting, DJ, the quality of your and Steve craftsmanship is so much better. If you just let it go, you'll definitely win. But instead, she thinks they need a statement berry.
Yes.
Well, here's the thing. She takes the statement berry and she drops it on the Napoleon, which causes it to crumble, like flatten out, as if a dumbbell has been dropped onto it.
Yeah.
And here's my thing. If the statement berry was enough to do that, then their Napoleon was already fucked. That has the structural
They have a
integrity of
hollow
a
Napoleon.
tissue.
It was a bad Napoleon. What was going to happen when the chef cut into it?
Like, it was the same thing.
Was their Napoleon completely hollow on the inside?
To be fair, he doesn't actually cut into it because, like,
No.
what he counts down. It's like at the last second she places the berry and it crumbles, and then he just gives a certificate to the Feinsteins without even like
There's
tasting
a third
it.
couple.
Yeah,
in the
I was
room.
gonna say there
doesn't
is a
even
third
pay
couple
attention to
there
them.
who is
Yeah,
just
but
kind of
they
like
suck.
in the background. They don't have any lines, but it's like
They can't
there's
cook for
another-
shit.
Yeah,
That is true. They must suck.
But,
Because he doesn't even talk
you know,
to them.
DJ and Steve lose. They're kind of upset about it. And the teacher's like, okay, you can all get out of my kitchen unless you are staying for my next class. And he takes off his chef's hat and puts on a cowboy hat. And he's like, I'm doing a Texas-style barbecue class. I'm a cowboy now. Yeehaw.
And he says that.
Yeah, and he says
He
that.
does.
He says that
says
word
that.
for word.
Word for word.
I'm doing a Texas-style barbecue class now.
I'm a cowboy, yeehaw. Which, like, the fact that this man can change accents on the fly, I feel like that goes a little underappreciated.
It's maybe the chef should have been a character actor instead of a cooking instructor.
Maybe the chef should fight crime using various different disguises to break into the underground, like the organized crime world.
Okay,
Yep, that's the one. That's the one.
First question, Mr. Chef. How good is your Orthodox Jew?
They are making challah next week, according to the show.
Well, DJ at one point says she's gloating and she goes, holla. And Mrs. Feinstein, the joke is she says, I didn't know we were making challah.
Yeah.
So, Harrison, I don't think they're actually making challah next week.
Well, she specifically
Yeah, she
said,
says,
I
like-
thought we were making challah
She says, I
next
thought
Yeah,
we were
yeah,
making
she says
challah
that.
next week.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So there is challah is on the itinerary.
Classic Jewish baking.
Yeah.
Classic Jewish French baking.
Yeah. But yes, after this, we go back home. Max is still disappointed. But what does he see in the backyard but an entire Renaissance fair in the backyard? Crazy how that happens.
Yeah.
Yep. Steph.
How much money does this family have?
Well, to be fair, Fernando is a recently retired, very famous race car driver.
That is true, he is.
And Steph.
He doesn't live there.
He definitely owes Stephanie some favors.
That's
though. I
fair.
don't
You
know
know what?
why, but he definitely does.
Yeah.
Steph was a world famous DJ before she quit for no reason and decided to become a children's entertainer for 5 seconds, and then we never talk about it again.
DJ's a vet, which, like, that makes pretty good money. Like, that makes good money.
So So, hey, if you guys know about like budget, if anybody listening knows about like budgeting, tell us how much it costs to throw a whole Renaissance fair. And if it's feasible for these people to be doing
Yeah,
it.
because like I think of that salary, it's a good salary, but I don't know if it's good enough to support financially all the hijinks that goes on in this house on a daily basis.
It's true. But they throw a whole Ren fair. Max comes in and he's like, I'm so touched. And Steph says, well, we need someone to pluck a certain sword from a certain stone. And J Money says, oh, you mean this sword? And they all stop him before he can.
J Money
draw
can't
it
be
from
the
the
chosen one. J Money is not allowed to be the
He
chosen
is not
one.
going to be the king of Camelot.
They're like, no, J Money, you cannot be the hero. If you pull the
shall
sword from
never
the
be
stone,
king.
we're all screwed.
The brave Sir J Money.
Yes, J Money is the Sir Robin of the Four household.
Little bits.
Do you think J Money is going to become like jaded and bitter that they arbitrarily gifted the kingdom to his younger brother?
Oh yeah.
Like he's going to become Scar. Like that's the sequel to
Yes.
Fuller House is not
Is the
like,
Lion King.
J Money has 3 daughters now. The sequel to Fuller House is The Lion King.
Yes.
Yes. I'm here for it. So down.
Anyway, DJ is talking to Kimmy and Steph, and she's saying, like, you know, after all these years, I can still learn things about Steve. That surprised me. That was the point of that story. And she thinks Steve is hot, and they kiss. And
Yay.
then Ramona comes back and from her date and says, how long was I gone? And the episode ends.
Yep. Yep.
Love Ramona.
Yeah,
Ramona's
that was
great.
a fun
Ramona
episode.
is very good this episode. And speaking of characters that
Yeah.
are good, it is time for our favorite segment, Sad Boy of the Week. Who do we nominate? I feel like we gotta nominate Fernando for sure.
Fernando for sure.
I'm gonna nominate J Money.
J Money is
J-
also
I'm
one that I was
nominating
thinking of.
J-Money.
We didn't really mention him all that much during the show, but Mr. Feinstein has some wonderful lines that I forget what they are.
Oh yeah, you're right.
He has some wonderful. They talk about. There's like one thing where Mrs. Feinstein's like,
He's lactose.
we went to this one like this cheese class or whatever, which is where we found out that Irv was lactose intolerant, and he was like, yeah, I shit up the whole place. He didn't actually say that, but
He says that. He says that in the show.
I forget what the other one was because there was another one that was really good.
I honestly forget.
Damn it.
I kind of wanted to nominate Ramona.
I feel like
Yeah,
Ramona
I think this
is definitely up there as well.
I think Ramona had some good sad boy moments here.
I think that's really it. I don't really have anybody else.
Yeah. J Money, Fernando, Ramona.
All right.
Are
run
we
it through.
saying Mr. Feinstein, or
No,
do we
I
just
think he's
not
worth a
remember
mention,
enough
but
about
don't.
him?
I
Yeah.
think he's worth a
He's worth a
mention, but we
Do we want to?
we summed up his case
Do we want to
there.
include the chef?
I think he's
know.
he's
It
pretty
was
out
funny,
there, but
but-
I don't think he's especially sad.
I think he's worth
a
a mention. He's worth a mention, but I think we'll take him out.
I thought we would end up nominating either DJ or Steve, but DJ, I mean, outside of the awkwardness, was not that sad,
No.
and Steve was actually kind of a rad boy this episode.
Yeah.
So
if we gave a
that's
Rad
not
Boy of the
gonna
Week
happen.
award, it would go to Steve, but we don't do that.
Yeah.
So sucks to suck, Steve.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So who do we have? We have
we have
J-Money,
Ramona, we have J Money, we have
Ramona.
Fernando.
All right,
And we
let's
have
go.
Fernando.
Mark, run us through.
All right, so J Money. J Money is playing a racing game with full access to an actual race car driver, and instead goes, "No, I'm good." He does not want to get up from his couch to get his Postmates delivery. So, like, thank God the door is always open. We find out he did not believe that Fernando was actually a very famous race car driver until this very moment.
Takes an impressive amount of lack of awareness.
He sort of disappears for the rest of the scene, but at the end, he fully falls in love with a burrito and chips.
It was just so good. It was so funny.
Mhm.
It's very good.
I can't get over it.
I think that might be like one of our favorite moments from Fuller House, just as a whole.
Again,
That was
that's
very
maybe
good.
my favorite end button of any scene in this show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's consoling Max. There's a very good line where like Max apologizes to Steph, and Steph says like, Max, that's very mature of you. Where did you learn that? And Max sort of like looks at J Money and says, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. So like no one would ever believe that J Money has any wisdom to him.
And then at the end of the episode, they tell him that he is not worthy of being the chosen
at the end
one.
of the episode, at the end of the episode, he goes, "Oh, maybe I can be king," and they say, "No, J Money, you may not be king."
So that's J Money.
That's J Money.
Ramona?
Ramona walks in. Love at first sight is in slow motion. Her hair blowing back. She immediately falls down the stairs. She gets up and can only say, "No, I'm Ramona," which she repeats again because she's either so overwhelmed by love or she has a concussion. She is Ramona.
Mm-hmm.
She is Ramona.
Indeed.
But her very famous race car driver dad drives the love of her life away.
No.
I know. Later on, she is so hung up on this Postmates guy that she's sniffing the bag that J Money's meal came in. Not even her meal. She had to like
J-Money's
ask
bag.
J Money.
I forgot about that.
That is
I forgot
true.
about the
Oh
bag.
my God.
We never even mentioned that. You're right. Oh,
You're making some very
wow, that
convincing
gave him,
arguments
like,
here.
50 points there.
You're making some very convincing arguments for Ramona. I did not think she would be this good of a candidate.
I forgot about that.
Turns out her mother has schemed and has ordered Postmates again, a lasagna, and tries to get her together with Ethan through this weird, like, Ramona likes Italian, or are you Italian, or are you just holding an Italian dish? And Ethan's like, I am holding an Italian dish.
I am not
I
Italian.
am not Italian. But in response to him being not Italian, again, Ramona's only response is, no, I'm Ramona. Still caught up in all that. Love
She
it.
does use it as an excuse to bond over Italian movies, though.
Yes,
So that's kind of
she
cool.
invites him to see Cinema Paradiso.
But then he can't do it and leaves immediately.
Yes,
without
because
getting
her
number.
father has lured him away with a delivery to Alcatraz. And she does not get his number, nor does she give him hers. Later, she has gotten dolled up for her not yet a date with the Postmates guy who may or may not come. Good thing she has Kimmy on her side because Kimmy assaults Fernando.
To
Oh
assault
my God.
Oh, God.
And Ramona is able to escape.
This episode was wild.
This episode was wild and I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ramona comes back from her date. By all accounts, a good time. But she comes back from her date to a full Renaissance fair in her backyard. And she is now
What
unsure
do you know?
if she traveled in time or not.
Yep.
And that's
Thus
Ramona.
supporting the theory that she is both in love and severely concussed.
Yes. And that's
Okay,
Ramona.
I think I'm giving it to Ramona.
Oh, well, do you want me to recount Fernando?
Well, we need to do Fernando.
Oh,
we need to do
I forgot Fernando.
first.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Let's hear Fernando.
Because I was not thinking of Fernando, but now that you nominated him, I think he has a pretty strong case as well.
Fernando is a very strong
does.
case, I think.
Yes. Fernando walks up to a 16, 17-year-old playing a racing video game and says, "Hey, I'm a race car driver. You want to play with me?" And is told no. Luckily, he is immediately recognized for the first time in his life.
Oh my God.
Though again, it is revealed that he has the world record for most spectator injuries.
Oh, I should
Which is
not be
presumably
laughing, but-
why, as of this episode, he had
that's
to
really good.
retire as a race car
That
driver.
is really good.
Yeah.
Yep. He immediately finds out that his one and only fan is maybe falling in love with his daughter, and so he immediately
I think it's more than a maybe.
Definitely not a maybe, but
it's love at first sight. Okay.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is falling in love with his daughter, and so he immediately hates his only fan
Yes.
and tries to get him out of the house. He, in order to get this boy away from his daughter, he places an order, a Postmates order to Alcatraz
Of all
of
locations.
all locations. And he is so confident that this is the only driver that they will contact. I'm just still stuck on that.
Do you think that if hold on, I just thought of something. Do you think he sent over like he kept sending over orders to Alcatraz until eventually he got Ethan to send one over?
That's very possible, and that is even more sad.
This is something that I just thought of now, but I feel like that could be very funny.
If
He's like, all right, there's one order to Alcatraz. Oh, he's not leaving yet? Let me just send over another order to Alcatraz. He's feeding the prisoners, all right?
Yeah, it's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
The prisoners that are definitely still there at Alcatraz, the infamous prison that is no longer in use.
But that's definitely a possibility. And then when he once again tries to get the cute boy away from his daughter, his wife, fiance, question mark? I forget what the status of that relationship is.
Fiance, I think.
His fiance
Ex-wife / fiance.
fully assaults him, hits him with essentially a broom, trips him, tackles him on the ground,
Pulls him away by his feet.
Scratches
the floor.
Yep. He's just in the floor forever.
Mm-hmm.
She does apologize to him. And again, I think it should be noted that when she apologizes and when she says we just have to let Ramona make her own decisions, he does say, and hear me out, we dress up in elaborate costumes and follow her everywhere she goes.
Oh, God.
Mm.
And I think that's kind of Fernando's deal this episode.
Yeah. All right. I think there are 3 very strong nominees here, but
There really are.
I think I have to give it to Fernando on this one. He's just the one that speaks to me the most.
I agree Fernando has a very strong case.
I honestly would be happy with any of these.
And my heart wants to go with J Money, but I think Ramona spoke to me the most.
That's fair.
I think Ramona as well. Fernando has a very good case, but I think his case kind of tapers off.
That's fair.
I was going to say that I
mean.
wanted to give it to Ramona because this is Ramona's episode, but Fernando has a very strong case. But I do think they both have very strong cases.
Yeah.
And I think while Fernando kind of tapers off a little bit, Ramona is very strong throughout. And this is her episode to shine, so I think I'm going to give it to Ramona.
That's fair. That's fair. Honestly,
With
I would have been
Fernando,
fine with
it's
any of
very
those
close.
3 winning because it was very close to
close.
everybody. But yeah, I think that's it for the episode.
All right. Yeah, this was a very strong episode, guys. Thank you for listening. If you want to find us more, please don't visit us at Fullest House Pod on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I am Harrison Bloom.
I'm Zach Horowitz.
And I'm Mark Greene.
And until next time, may your houses be fuller, and may your hurdies be girdy.
There's a hurdy-gurdy.
Yeah, we forgot to mention the
We forgot
hurdy-gurdy.
to mention that.
We
but
forgot
there's
to
a
mention the
hurdy-gurdy.
hurdy-gurdy, but there is a hurdy-gurdy.
Our final
Max is
joke
lured
is
outside
predicated
because of
on
a
you
hurdy-gurdy.
knowing that there was a
You
hurdy-gurdy.
get it. We're just like fading out.